I'm Sarah Broadstock. I am an associate architect at Studio Bark, and I am also very involved with the Architects Climate Action Network, which is ACAN, mostly in the education group, but just as a general network as well. That's me. At the moment, I'm working on, at the Studio Bark side of things, we're working on sort of more traditional architectural projects, so designing houses, for example. We do a lot of work in the countryside where planning for houses is, you have to demonstrate that they're exceptional or outstanding, of a very high environmental standard in order to get planning permission. So we work very closely with a lot of different consultants and have a lot of in-house expertise around environmental analysis, as well as, you know, traditional design skills. And so that's one of our sort of USPs as a practice, is that we work under this particular bit of planning policy called paragraph 80. So that's like on the traditional side of things, but then also the practice, we do a lot of work in education. So this summer we ran a live build project called No Building as Usual, where we brought 12 students from across different universities, different year groups. We tried to get people not just from architecture, but from lots of different built environment sector backgrounds, which was kind of not as successful as we wanted it to be, but kind of worked a little bit. And the idea was that, you know, architects alone can't be solving, can't solve a project, can't solve a problem on their own, and that we all just need to be working more collaboratively. And this idea of culture change in the profession, and yeah, just thinking about how architects can be doing things differently, questioning the kind of back to basics principles. And that ties back into our very structure as a business, which is we're part architecture practice, part contracting company, and we set up the contracting company so that we could do build projects the way we wanted to do them, and working with students and trying to recognize the fact that there's these huge challenges ahead for the built environment sector as a whole, and that those challenges then are challenges that the next generation of architects are going to be trying to tackle, and questioning whether or not the way that the education system is structured at the moment is giving students the skills that they need to address those challenges, or whether we're just kind of perpetuating old ways of doing things, and the shit's going to hit the fan basically if we carry on doing things the same way. So that's also very much of interest to Studio Bark, and we probably come at it sometimes in quite a naive way, but we kind of learn through doing, and hopefully don't upset too many people along the way. And it's good fun. It's a better way to run a practice than just sticking to what you think you should be doing, just to be a bit more experimental about things. And then the other thing is ACAN. So yeah, not something that I get paid to do, so it's a voluntary network, but something that filters into and out of work. And sometimes I do it in work time as well. And that can be organising events and workshops, replying to consultations. Yeah, ACAN is geared towards systemic change rather than kind of putting the emphasis on individuals to be doing things differently. It's about recognising the power we have as a collective, and then having some big ambitions and being really organised about creating change more widely in education, in politics, and in how architects practice. So all of these things kind of filter into one another. So yeah, and into personal life as well, I suppose. So it's very hard to separate what I do with work sometimes from what I want to be doing just as a person. So I think the first thing to say about tools and processes is the importance of reflecting on what you want to be achieving and what you've kind of learned from the past things you've worked on, and what you want to achieve moving forward. So this kind of reflective process is a key part of making or being most likely to achieve what you want to achieve. And then having the right systems in place then. So just on a business level, making sure that our business plan is not just, you know, a stock business plan, and that we've written that with a real like critical eye to what we actually want to achieve, what we want to be known for, and what we will be proud of as a practice having achieved when we look back on our careers in 10, 20, 30 years time. Obviously that's something that will evolve, but yeah, I think it's, well, the way my strengths work is more on the kind of strategic level. So having those processes that kind of allow for everything, that take into everything, and understand how the education projects work with the design projects, and how all these kind of different elements of activism and collaboration all feed into like one kind of neat business plan, I suppose, that we can use as a tool to keep us on the right track. Yeah, I guess on a more specific level, I think we do a lot of research and a lot of hands-on working, and sharing that knowledge and trying to tap into knowledge that other people have got, rather than kind of reinventing things ourselves or wasting time. When there's, like with the climate emergency, there's just no time to waste. You just have to work really efficiently with other people. So yeah, and also working in a way that you find, or that we find, stimulating, which is obviously again a very personal thing. Like some people might find coding very stimulating, other people might find like getting their hands into a bucket of clay really stimulating. So yeah, we work in ways that we want to as a group of people, and it means that we enjoy our day-to-day work, and that means that we do the best work we can, and that, I don't know, it seems to come off well, and we don't get bored. So we're masters of our own destiny, I suppose, in that sense. I think that's a good sort of thing to take into, you know, as the student, you're really in control of how you use your time. So if you're not enjoying it, you've only got yourself to blame. But a lot of architects also moan about their jobs, and I just think, you're doing it wrong then, get a different job. Like, do it how you want to do it. But anyway, one of the goals in our business plan is about using our voice to speak about the things that we are passionate about, or that we care about, and the climate emergency is one of those things. So by writing it into our business plan, it validates us using social media for that, or taking time out of work to go to a climate protest, or spending time like not working on a profitable project, but it's protest architecture, and it sort of gives us a bit of freedom to not feel like we have to be using all our work time to be like earning money, or I don't know, like we've got other values that aren't making profit, and it reminds us that those are just as valid values, that, you know, social equality and biodiversity, and Kate Raworth's donut economic model. That's something that's really informed our business plan. So it's kind of that idea of, it's not all about, well, it's really not so much about money at all. It's that we want to earn money so that we can do good things, but not for the sake of earning money in itself, and not if it's going to be at the cost of planetary resources and the well-being of other people.
Could you give a specific example of kind of protest architecture? What form does that take?
So the U-build system, that's a self-build building system that Studio Bark has developed in-house, and it's a CNC cut flat pack panel system, which is just basically big, like the idea of Lego, of stacking different blocks together. But we did a project with some students from UEL actually, where they modified the system so that it could be used as roadblocks. So just simply drilling holes in the sides of the boxes so that people could pass their arms through the boxes and hold on to each other and create a big chain, or that the same, or they could just be stacked as normal and really easily transported to wherever the protest was happening, and quickly put up by people that didn't have any prior experience, just with very simple hand tools. So yeah, protest. So we've got a bit of a name for protest architecture, but that was never what UBuild was designed for initially. But it just happens to be that because people in the practice are very engaged with activism, and we had a self-build system, it just happened very naturally.
You mentioned earlier that this process of learning through doing might upset people, and I was quite intrigued by that, and I wondered if you could say a little bit more about it.
Well, for example, you know, using UBuild to do a roadblock in Trafalgar Square, not everyone was into that. I suppose all this Insulate Britain protest, people, I don't know, having opinions is going to be divisive, and we are quite an opinionated practice, and I do think that sometimes the way that we operate can open us up to critique. Like, for example, no building as usual. The students weren't paid for their time, and if you, we tried very hard. We received sponsorship, so the students didn't have to pay to do the program. And if we hadn't got the sponsorship, it would have come at a very big cost to Studio Bark, which is how we have done live build projects in the past. But of course, you can still criticize the program for the fact that then still is an elitist thing, because students weren't able to earn money over the summer, and that meant that it wasn't a program that was open to everybody, when what we were trying to do and what we were saying we were doing was to make it accessible to as many people as possible. So but should we not have done the project? I don't think so. I think it was of really great value to the students who did do it, and I think that we made a lot of steps in the right direction to making it accessible. And so I guess, that's an example of, we're doing things, we might not be getting everything right, but hopefully next time we run the program, we can improve it again, and it's kind of all working in the right direction. It's just, if you try and get everything perfect, I don't know, if you're scared that it has to be perfect or you shouldn't do it, that feels like that's obviously not a good, there's a saying, isn't there, like, don't let perfection be the enemy of great, don't let great be the I don't know. We've lost one client through being vocal about something on Twitter that we thought, just like calling something out, and then the client just had this kind of relationship with the person company that we were criticizing, and we lost the project. And ultimately we were like, well, that's fine then. Or I don't know, do you want us to not have opinions? Should we just totally just be really safe in how we operate, and just in case we're gonna come across someone I don't know. We didn't mind losing a client for that reason. It seemed like we should carry on doing what we were doing. So I think I live in London, and I think the biggest challenge in London is probably the same as it is in most places, and that is culture change, and being able to imagine what the future could look like without being hindered by what it currently looks like, and not being defeatist about the level of change that can be achieved. Because if coronavirus has shown us one thing, it's that things can change very quickly, and when they have to. And I think we all kind of need an injection of empowerment, really, and to really go for gold on the changes that once you see that something needs to be changed, or what a problem is, then to go for that, and not to personalize it also, but to see the big picture and to go for the systemic change. So yeah, I think that there can be lack of vision for what the future might look like, and I think that's a really special skill that architects have and can offer to the climate challenges ahead, is being able to show people and kind of sell the dream of what the future can look like, because maybe there can be a lot of martyrdom or like negativity about things you won't be able to do, or having to live in a smaller house and not going on as many holidays. But actually, sell the dream. Like, what is the dream? Tell us what it is. So that's a big, there's many challenges, but I think culture change is a biggie.